What's going on, youngins? It's your boy, Ghetto, the Orator, back at you again with another Young and Pro-Black Chronicles. If you will excuse me, I'm just getting my motherfucking day started. Rolling a little blizzy, you know what I'm saying? And today, as you can tell by the picture, we're going to be talking about what pro-black means. Not necessarily what it means to be pro-black, not necessarily anything that has to do with pro-black outside of its own understanding and definition. We're going to talk about just what pro-black means as a philosophy and as a defense mechanism, right? By the end of this, you will have, or you should have, an overstanding and a standard to what pro-black is, what it means, and therefore be able to discern better whether or not someone is actually pro-black. Because a lot of niggas will say they pro-black, a lot of niggas will speak on things that would have to do with pro-blackness, and they'll say something against pro-blackness or something that doesn't match with pro-blackness while claiming to be pro-black, so therefore they cannot be pro-black. For example, you cannot advocate that a black person who is pro-black, that means race first, second, and third, that they can be pro-black and date in the caves, in any cave. No. That's a whole nother video, but no. Another example is that you cannot be pro-black and speak against the economic empowerment of black people, right? So if we're looking at the definition according to Urban Dictionary, the definition of pro-black is a lifestyle that encourages the economic growth and development of black people as a whole with the purpose of increasing the wealth and population of black people around the world, right? We can also arm ourselves against cave supremacy and overstanding cave supremacy. And we can also add promoting black love first, and then we can also put promoting Negro unity, right? So if you are not a person that believes in the economic advancement of black people, if you are not a person that believes in reparations, if you are not a person that believes in procreating first, or procreating within the community first or at all, then you cannot be pro-black. If you are not a person that does not see the benefit in uniting with their counterparts, be it in America or around the world, then you cannot be pro-black. If you think that black men and women should be fighting amongst ourselves, no matter where we are, if you think that black people should be fighting amongst ourselves, no matter where we're from, then you cannot be pro-black. Okay? So, this is important because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of conversations that are had around being pro-black or what pro-black means are very too vague for us to have a real fucking conversation about what this means. And this is very important, in my opinion, because this is about the survival and therefore the thriving of black people in this country and around the world, right? So to be black first, second, and third means that you are putting your race over your gender, over your humanitarianism, and over your religion. You can also throw political affiliation, other philosophies, let's say veganism, et cetera, right? Being black first, second, and third, being pro-black means that you are black regardless of your sexuality, your religion, and your gender. Let's just stick with those simple three. Your gender, your sexuality, and your religion, right? So being pro-black simply means, again, that you are a person that is for the advancement of black people in this country and around the world. And if you are not, if you have the gall, if you have the mind, if you have any sort of rationale against this, and if you are a black person that has any rationale against any of these points, then you cannot be pro-black. Therefore, if you are not pro-black, why the fuck do you have an opinion on things that have to do with black people? Because anything that has to do with black people and the betterment of black people helps any individual black person. So if you are going to be a black person that is more for yourself and that doesn't understand the importance of collectivism, and you are more of an individualist, then you can stay the fuck over there and stay in the caves. Stay where you're happy. Do not come over here trying to speak on behalf of black people, trying to speak in any regards to black people when you don't care for the advancement of the group, when you're just an opportunist. As far as I'm concerned, if you are not pro-black, then you are just a person who just so happens to be black. Because you cannot be black. I don't even understand how you can be black and not be pro-black. Personally, I don't understand how the two can exist. But if you are a person that is, if you are a person that is black and you are not pro-black, then you should not be speaking in regards to anything that has to do with pro-black, because you shouldn't care. Right? But the problem is that we have a lot of Negroes who, for some fucking reason, care to speak in places that don't fucking regard them or that don't matter to them. If you don't care to fight for the advancement and for our reciprocity, then why do you have an opinion on whether or not a pro-black person should date in the caves? And that's not to say that Negroes shouldn't date in the caves, even though I don't think that Negroes should. But if you're going to date in the caves, then at least make sure that it's because of the caves. Make sure that it's because you just completely admire the caves and that it doesn't have something to do with black people. Therefore, don't bring black people into your dating decisions, especially if the shit goes left. Because we are setting a standard over here. Ghetto the Orator is making himself a gatekeeper of pro-blackness. Because I'm sick and tired of niggas invoking the name of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King whenever it's fucking convenient for them, because we already got to deal with the caves doing it. We already got to deal with the caves invoking the name of MLK in reference to his I Have a Dream speech when it's on some kumbaya shit, when they're telling us that we should be on some kumbaya shit. But don't want to talk about the king that was talking about we coming to get our check. No. I'm not fucking with it. We already got niggas that like to invoke the name of Malcolm X and MLK whenever they motherfucking choose, and these motherfuckers be coons all throughout the year. Every year, all throughout the year, for the bag, for the sake of the bag, for the sake of keeping peace, for the sake of not offending motherfuckers. You want to be a coon every goddamn day. Every motherfucking second you get, you a coon. But then you want to invoke the name of Malcolm X or Dr. King when it's convenient for you, or any pro-black or any pro-black leader. And also another point of pro-black is to instill pride into our youth by teaching them the history of black people, the real history of black people, talking about our inventors and people of prominence outside of entertainment. Right? So economic advancement and empowerment, arming and defending ourselves against cave supremacy and the propaganda, black love and instilling pride within our youth and Negro unity, right? These are the proponents of pro-blackness, of pro-black. And if you do not agree with or do not fall into one of these categories, then you inherently, by definition, are not pro-black. It's not a matter of you cannot be pro. You are not pro-black. If you do not think that, or you think it is racist to instill pride in our youth, if you think that it is racist or not important to promote and become economically autonomous, if you do not think that it is important or racist to acknowledge cave supremacy and the propaganda that comes with it, then you are not and cannot be pro-black. So therefore, you should take your opinions and whatever else may have you and keep them in the caves. Keep them where you're at. We do not need that because, yes, you can have two coons come together and create a child and they will raise that child to be a coon. But that does not mean that that child will not be able to come to their own sense of pride and pro-blackness, right? So just because there are coons and just because there are people who do not think that it is advantageous for us to be pro-black does not mean that we should not be pro-black, because it is not a matter of opinion. When we're talking about cave supremacy, when we're talking about these caves, when we're talking about how we got to this point and where we are and how we move forward, this is not a matter of opinion. COINTELPRO, that is not an opinion. Slavery is not an opinion. Redlining is not an opinion. That's not something that that's not something that we made up. That's not something that no Negro has made up. These are things that happened and still have an effect on us till this motherfucking day. The fact that when you open up your wallet and you see at the top Federal Reserve note and not now Negro is a shareholder of the Federal Reserve Bank, that is acknowledging cave supremacy. And if you do not think that it is necessary and or racist to do so, then you are not and cannot be pro-black, and therefore I don't care about your opinion. Because obviously you do not have opinions, you do not have a mind, you do not have an inclination that is race first, second, and third. So why would I care about your opinion? We should not even acknowledge the opinions of these people because they're not important. Because they're literally speaking against your survival, black people. Any person that is not pro-black, any black person that is not pro-black, you are speaking against. You are against your survival. Because let me tell you this. You may be a person that is an individualist. You may be about yourself, all in all. At the end of the day, you may be about yourself and yours and what is yours as far as your children and your family. Okay, fine. Understand, though, people, any person can only lift as high as the highest person in their group, right? So at a certain point, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you can only be so pro-black. The higher you go in earnings, take Byron Allen, for example, a person that is a billionaire, married in the caves, mind you, still went against Comcast on our behalf as black people. Because what they did was racially discriminative in the sense of him bringing channels to them, and all he wanted was the ad revenue from the ads that would be broadcasted on his channels. And Comcast was not fucking with it. So he brought a major civil rights case to the Supreme Court, or a civil rights law to the Supreme Court, and argued for the right for him to do business with Comcast, and saying that they weren't doing business with him because of race, because they had no reason not to do business with him. There was no reason for Comcast to not do business with Byron Allen other than racism. Right? So that's just one example. So we understand that there's only so far we can advance and be pro-black, right? And there's only so far you can advance regardless as a black person. Why do you think there's only fucking what, 5 fucking black billionaires, 7 at the most, and not more than 10? So because of this fact, because of this reality, it is most advantageous for all of us, right? For the average black person, for the life and the standard of our lives to lift, and for the standard of our perception to elevate. And if you are against that, if you do not think it's necessary to advocate for that and to be advantageous for that, then you are a person that is speaking against your own survival. Therefore, I'm not going to listen to you. Therefore, your opinion should not even be considered. And you're speaking against the death of your children. You're speaking against the death of your legacy. You are speaking death over you. You are speaking against your survival. Therefore, you're a fucking idiot. You're self-destructive. You're a self-hater, and you're a fucking coon. Your opinion should not be valid. It has no reason to be. You have no merit to make an opinion for the sake of black people, in the sake of something that is meant to, a philosophy that is meant to protect us. Because if it comes down to protecting oneself, you're going to do it on the basis of your merit, of what you deem a threat for you personally as an individual. But understand that the perceptions of you are the perceptions of your group. The perceptions of your group are the perceptions of you. How people perceive black people as a whole ultimately will have an impact on any individual black person, whether you be a coon or not. You think these caves is checking with niggas to see if they coons first? You think these caves is only killing pro-black motherfuckers? You think the caves is only killing pro-black niggas? No. It's not what happens. You think the cave pigs check with each individual Negro to see if they're pro-black before they gun them down in the street? No. Do you think Derek Chauvin asked motherfucking George Floyd, rest his soul, if he was pro-black before he killed him? No. Before he put his knee on his neck? No. Before he just let him fucking suffocate? No, he did not. Do you think Alton Sterling was asked if he was pro-black before he was fucking killed? No. God rest his soul. Do you think anybody, you think Rodney King was asked if he was pro-black before he was beat down in the motherfucking streets? No. But you'll have Negroes who will literally speak against their own advancement and elevation in this society because we have Negroes who are degenerates. You'll have your Larry Elders and your Candace Owens of the world who speak against the advancement of Negroes because there are Negroes who kill each other. You will have Negroes who will sit on motherfucking TV in front of all of these motherfucking caves and say Negroes don't deserve reparations because they haven't done anything to pull themselves by the bootstraps. And then you'll have niggas that will applaud these niggas and agree with them. You'll have niggas who will argue against me when it comes to dating in the caves. You'll have niggas who will argue against me when it comes to economic empowerment. You'll have niggas who will argue against me when it comes to acknowledging cave supremacy and propaganda. You will have Negroes who will argue against other Negroes. We are still in this situation because we have not listened to the orators who came before me. came before us. The Dr. Claude Andersons of the world, the Dr. Amos Wilsons of the world, the Neely Fullers of the world, the MLKs, the Malcolm X's. We are still the Fannie Lou Hamers and the first black woman that ran for president. You will have Negroes who will speak against these people and who have not listened to these people, and we have not, because we are still in this situation. We are still in a situation where we are still affected by slavery. What the fuck was the point of civil rights? Still got a wealth gap and all types of shit. Never got reparations, never got Reconstruction. But you will have Negroes who will literally say being pro-black or pro-black is a myth, or it isn't necessary, or it's not even a thing anymore because of integration and because niggas date in the caves. Male or female, niggas date in the caves. So fuck, racism just doesn't exist anymore. There's no such thing as cave supremacy. Redlining, that shit's gone. All that shit is just a myth. The sole reason why black people have not advanced out of the situation that we're in is because niggas is lazy and we don't want to do shit. Like, this government has not allowed for the common caves to be racist against us. The government is just as much at fault, if not more, for the situation that we're in than just your regular common KKK caves and your regular prejudice caves, or your regular low-key violent discriminatory caves, or your overt violent discriminatory caves. I don't want to hear any nigga, any Negro speaking against. I don't want to fucking hear it. Because you're speaking against, you just sound dumb. Just any Negro who speaks against being pro-black, let them talk themselves into a motherfucking grave and their legacy, because obviously they don't give a fuck about it. I give a fuck about my legacy. I give a fuck about the legacy of black people. I give a fuck about the fact that our ancestors were not supposed to survive the shit that they survived. So for you to not be pro-black, for you to speak against pro-blackness, means that they might as well not have survived. If you were not going to carry on the legacy, if you were not going to carry on what it took to get to this point, then stay in the caves. Please stay in the caves. Don't share your opinions. Just stay in the caves. Why do you have an opinion on whether or not black people should elevate and advance? What do you care? If you're an individualist, if you're an opportunist. And people paying attention to these motherfuckers, why are you giving them attention? These are the same motherfuckers that allowed themselves to be used to bring down the Black Panther Party. Fuck them coons. Fuck them coons. Fuck them caves. Fuck all of them. We not doing that over here. And shout out to Rob for bringing the B123 term into existence, giving us something else to further cement the philosophy of being pro-black. Because that's what it is. It's a philosophy that is based on defense and defending us and defending us and defending our legacy and being able to continue our legacy to get to a point where we can thrive, where we're no longer having to survive. If you are a Negro that is not in favor of that and speaks against that, then fuck you. And I hope you get what you ask for. I hope you get what you want. But do not come looking to pro-black Negroes when your black ass gets into a situation because you're black. I don't want to fucking hear it. Because you made your choice, and that's what you wanted to do, and that's what you thought was the best decision for you. So stay there. We are about promoting economic advancement, instilling pride in our youth, coming together as black men and women in this country and around the world, arming ourselves against caves and cave supremacy and their propaganda. We buying black, and we promoting black love. And if you are against any of that, you are not an ally. You are not pro-black.